I'd like to welcome everybody to our June 6th Subdivision and Utility Advisory Board meeting. Could I have the opening announcements, please?
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. Copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and Planning Department staff reports on all agenda items are available on the counter in the lobby. The Planning Commission's bylaws limit the applicant of a subdivision application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the Commission may extend these times by a majority vote. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone.
Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Klontz? Here. Williams Bay? Here. Zimbelman? Here. Blick? Here. Bill Johnson?
Here.
And Bob Duell?
Here.
Sir, I show 7 members present, and I do not see either of the alternates.
Thank you. Before we start, item number 10, subdivision 2024-00022 has been deferred to June 20th. Also, item 13, subdivision 2024-00027 has been deferred. I don't know that there's a date. They're waiting on a drainage plan. They have not received a drainage plan on that particular case. So anybody here for them items, they can leave.
Greg, is that for June 20th as well?
Yeah, it's plenty.
Okay, so the second one is currently going to be deferred to June 20th at this point.
Okay, just been told it's been deferred till the 20th of June. The With that said, let's start with item number 2, vacation case 2024-00026.
Good morning, Subdivision. Philip Zievenbergen with planning staff. Vacation 2024-26 is the vacation of a portion of a platted 40-foot front setback. And they're vacating the entire setback in order for the zoning setback to apply. The property is zoned SF5, single-family residential, and so the zoning setback would be 25 feet. You want to go to the aerial, please? The property is located 1 block south of West Maple and about 1/4 mile west of South 135th Street West. It's addressed as 346 South Decker. The instigation of this request was the applicant is requesting or looking to build a covered porch kind of in this notch from the garage to the house. And during review, as you can see, the house was built with a portion of the garage extending into the front setback, which shouldn't have been allowed, but we are here today. So instead of just doing the porch request, they're also doing this request in order to bring that portion of the garage into compliance as well. The portion of the garage that extends into the setback right now is approximately 27 feet from the west front property line. So a reduction of the setback to the zoning setback at 25 feet brings them into compliance with a little bit of wiggle room. And so the garage and the proposed covered porch would be in compliance with all building setbacks. Public Works, Utilities, Fire, Traffic Engineering, and Stormwater do not object to the reduction in the setback. Evergy and Cox do not object to the vacation as well. They do not have any equipment or lines in the vacation area. This was plotted as part of the Maple Hill 5th Edition in 1969. I have not heard any public comment regarding this request, and I can stand for any questions.
Any questions of staff? Thank you. Advisory board members, any comments?
Rondi with Evergy, 4025 North Tobin, no additional comment.
Anyone else? Applicant or agent? Please give us your name, address. You got 10 minutes.
I'm Danny Richards, and I'm here representing Cliff and Erlinda Thomas, who are the residents and has owned the house for many, many years. And the purpose of their request is to improve the living conditions of the house. The house has a big picture window that was common to those houses built back in those days, and it faces the west. So in the evening, the sun comes through and makes the front living uncomfortable. So they're trying to put on an awning type front porch cover that will shield that picture window from the evening sun. And as described before, when they applied for the building permit, it was refused because of the zoning setback there that interfered with the approval of that. So we're just kindly asking you to approve the vacation of the zone so they can complete the construction. Any questions that I might add?
Any questions to the agent? Seeing none, thank you. Is there anyone else present wanting to speak on this item? Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve per staff recommendation and comments.
Second.
Got a motion by Bob Aldridge, second by Dr. Zimbelman. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? 7-0. Next item is vacation case 2024-00027.
Again, Philip Zievenbergen for the record. Vacation 2427 is a vacation of the platter's text of a portion of Reserve A in the Northwest Pump Station addition. This is located at West 21st Street North and North 135th Street West. If you want to go to the aerial image, please. When this was platted, this whole portion was platted as Reserve A with the text of, it was platted for drainage, landscaping, pedestrian improvements, signage, and utilities confined to easements. The applicant is proposing to include the text of uses within the north 141.83 feet of Reserve A should include those uses permitted within the underlying zoning district. The property is currently zoned single-family residential. It has a conditional use for a wireless communications tower that you can see was constructed. If you want to go to the site plan, please. It appears that the applicant is looking to develop the property commercially. You can see this is the north 141 feet of the reserve, looking for a proposed building with parking. And in order to do that, they would need to do a zone change to an appropriate zoning in order to accommodate the use that they were looking for. But the way in which the Plowder's text would be stated would allow any uses as determined by the underlying zoning district at any point in the future, which also gives it the flexibility to change should zoning ever need to change at any point in the future after that as well. I have not heard any public comment regarding this application, and I can stand for any questions.
Any questions, Bob?
Philip, I'm assuming the cell tower is gonna remain, correct?
I believe the cell tower is right here. So they're proposing to build the building north of the cell tower.
Is there any footage restrictions or issues, as far as between where the cell tower is currently located and where they're looking at building? Is there a problem there as far as?
The only
distance?
thing that the zoning code governs regarding the location of a tower is height compatibility, and that's related to zoning districts. So the height compatibility for a cell tower is a 1-to-1 ratio from the tower to a nearby residential zoning district. And so I don't know how tall the tower is off the top of my head, but say it's 120 feet, it would need to be 120 feet from the property line of a residential zoning district. If they go to limited commercial, for example, I'm not sure that's what they're going to be asking for, but they go to a non-residential zoning district, that height compatibility does not apply. Any other type of fall zone or anything like that would be determined probably by other processes. But we've seen towers being constructed right next to buildings elsewhere in town in like industrial districts and industrial areas.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Phil. Any advisory board members have any comments?
Rondi with Evergy, 4025 North Tobin. This is outside our territory served by Sedgwick County Rural Electric. And no transmission.
Thank you. So hearing no more, applicant or agent, please come forward. Give us your name and address. You got 10 minutes.
I did send a reminder about this meeting earlier this week. I do not see somebody coming to the podium.
Yeah. Scott, what?
Yeah, in instances when the applicant's not here, if there are no questions and if the recommendation is favorable towards what the applicant's request is and there's no public comments, then my understanding is that it can proceed. You can make a recommendation to move it forward. However, if there were public comments or if there were questions about the case, or if you wanted to make a recommendation that's not favorable towards what the applicant is requesting, then I would recommend deferral.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? Anybody present want to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission. What's the pleasure of the board?
I've always had a thing about if it's important enough for this thing to be published and people meet, I think it should be important enough that the agent of the applicant could at least attend. I'm gonna make a motion that we defer it until the next available date. I don't know what the rest of the commission would go along with that, but that's my motion.
Second.
Got a motion to defer it by Bob Aldridge, second by Bob Dewell. Scott?
Yeah, just a quick clarification in that it appears to me that the next subdivision meeting is on the 20th, June 20th. I'm looking to Philip just to make sure that.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll modify the motion to defer until the 20th of June.
Hey, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Yes, Steph. If they would walk in before the end of the meeting, does our motion get overruled at that point?
No, it does not, but I believe that you would have the option as a body of taking up a vote to hear that item, to reconsider that item at today's meeting.
Okay, item number 4, vacation 2024-00028.
Vacation 2428 is the request to vacate a portion of a platted 25-foot street side setback on property zone single-family residential located at 384 South Floyd Street. This is located 1 block south of West Maple and within 1 block west of South Woodchuck Lane. That's about halfway between Tyler and Mays. Go to the aerial image, please. The purpose of the vacation is to construct a detached garage that would face toward West University Avenue. The property was platted as part of the Floyd Bailey addition with a 25-foot platted front setback and a 25-foot platted street side setback. The underlying zoning district is SF5, and a street side setback in the SF5 district would only be 15 feet, even along West University. To provide perspective, the property across the street, which is platted in a different subdivision, was not platted with a street side setback at all, so the zoning setback would apply. So if this property were to want to do the same request, they could construct a detached garage 15 feet from their side property line. So essentially, a request to reduce it by 10 feet is essentially asking for the zoning setback to take over for this property. Go to the site plan, please. You can see here the proposed garage. They indicated as 20 feet, but this initially came in as an option for an administrative adjustment, but through the review process, we can't administratively adjust platted setbacks, and so it had to be upgraded to a vacation. If it was a zoning setback that we're looking to administratively adjust, we could have only taken 5 feet away from it as a 20% reduction. And the applicant indicated after that that they were actually looking to do the 10 feet, knowing that they could go down to the 15-foot mark and match the existing street side setback within the SF5 district. So the site plan does show a 20-foot space between here, but he really is asking for the 15-foot mark, knowing it would give him a little bit more space and still be within the zoning setback in the SF5 district. Public Works, Fire, Traffic Engineering, and Stormwater do not object. Evergy and Cox do not object. They do not have lines or equipment in the vacation area. And I have not heard any public comment regarding this application. I can stand for any questions.
Any questions of staff? Thank you. Advisory board members, any comments?
Rondi with Evergy, no additional comment.
Applicant or agent? Give us your name and address. You got 10 minutes.
My name's Todd Litton. I'm the homeowner at that address. I'm not sure what you need to hear from me. I'm looking to retire and put a little garage back there to work out of, tinker in my retirement. One thing I would say is I think I'm going to change and put the garage where the shed is and the shed where the garage is due to the sewer line that we found back there in a septic tank. So I would still request the vacation of the setback to allow me to put a mobile or portable, this shed here.
Hey, could you use the mouse and
Sure. I'd like to take this shed instead, which I have a location permit on for the last 25 years. It's a 10 by 12 shed, and I want to move it up here to where this setback would be vacated if permissible with y'all. And then I'll be putting the garage back in this area instead,
okay?
which doesn't require any contact with the setbacks. But I'd still like to use that 10 feet to put that mobile shed up in the corner to make room for it. So I apologize for not having contacted this sooner, but we just ran into the sewer issue. I didn't even know it was back there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Questions of that?
Any questions?
I do. I'm not sure if your service out there is overhead or underground.
I had it put under electrical service?
Yes.
Yes, you all put it underground for the pool 20-some years ago.
Okay, perfect. Because we just want to talk about overhead clearance, but if
Sure.
your lines are underground, you're good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else here like to speak on this item? Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion approved with staff's recommendations.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Blick and a second by Mr. Weensby. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? 7-0. Item number 5, vacation case 2024-00029.
Vacation 2429 is the request to vacate a portion of a platted 30-foot front setback on Lot 5, Block 2, Rockwood 6th Edition. This property does not have an address at this point in time. It has never been developed. It's in between 7811 and 7837 East Pageant Lane, which you can see is just 1 block west of North Rock Road and about half a mile south of East Central. The purpose of the request is to construct a single-family home. If you want to go to the site plan, please. The property was platted with a 30-foot front setback, and as we've been discussing today, the SF5 underlying zoning district has a 25-foot zoning setback that would normally apply had it not been platted. You can see the proposed layout of the single-family home and how it would encroach 5 feet into the front setback. You can see the unique dimensions of the lot that make buildable area on this property very tricky, with a 20-foot rear yard setback back here, 6-foot side setbacks to the side. And given kind of the triangular shape makes it probably pretty tricky, which could lend to perhaps why it's never had a single family home on it since the area has been platted, which was in 1967. The garages would be the portions that would be extending into the setback toward the northern end. It is noted that they show a little bit of an encroachment into the 6-foot zoning side yard setback. If they do want to move forward, if this is approved and they are going to move forward with a building permit, they would need to submit an administrative adjustment in order to do a reduction of the side setback for the corner of that house that's proposed to be encroaching. That has not been submitted yet, but my understanding is that they weren't going to go that route unless they could have the front setback to do the layout that they're proposing to do. Public Works and Utilities, Fire, Traffic Engineering, and Stormwater do not object to the reduction of the setback. It should not have any detrimental effects on sight lines coming around the corner. Traffic Engineering followed up with me on that and determined that they have no issue with the 5-foot increase towards the front property line. Evergy and Cox do not object. They do not have lines or equipment in the vacation area. I have heard a couple comments from the public, curiosity of what the request was. I sent them this layout, and so there may be some public comment this morning regarding the proposed reduction of the setback. Other than that, I can stand for any questions.
Any questions of staff? Seeing none, thank you. Advisory board members, any comments?
Rondi with Evergy, 4025 North Tobin. We would like the applicant, when they're ready to proceed with building, if that goes forward, to reach out to the area construction rep for that, because we are having issues with infill lots where people assume because there's power in the area that it's just going to be easy to serve, and then the poor applicant waits 6 to 8 weeks because it isn't easy to serve and we have to do a job for it. So be sure and reach out to Evergy when you go forward with building.
Thank you. Applicant or agent?
Kirk Miller, K.E. Miller Engineering, 117 East Lewis. Philip pretty much covered everything. The lot's been vacant since 1967 when it was platted, and it's an odd-shaped lot. It's an odd pie-shaped lot, which is probably why nobody's built anything on it yet. And that's just to get more buildable areas, the reason we want the vacation of setback. Be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions, agent?
I got a question.
Okay.
You're pretty close to the property lines, in several spots. Have you checked with the building department to see if these overhangs can be in the easements? Because they're going to be in this house here.
I'm not sure what they have in the way of overhangs, and there are written descriptions as to what the overhangs can go into setbacks, and they can't exceed that. So it'll be between the builder and MEBCD as to what the overhangs were allowed.
Well, it might be a good thing to check it out before they start, because it's too late after they start.
Right, yeah.
Any other questions? Mr. Black?
We had a case that came similar with a parking garage recently. And I know this probably isn't the case, but I just want to ask, is there an HOA or anything in this area?
I don't know of one.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Any other questions, Agent? Seeing none, thanks.
Okay.
Anybody else present wanting to speak on this item? Anybody, please come forward and give us your name and address.
Good morning. My name is Wade West and address 7830 East Pageant, so directly across the street from this location. And I guess probably the biggest question that I was having is what was being built. It is an HOA community. I did speak with the president and the board, and they have zero idea of what is being built. My understanding is the people who own this property are also the people who live. It's hard for me to tell from really where this angle is, but I believe it's this house right here. Also bought the vacant land, who used to belong to the house that was right here. There we go. Originally, this house owned it, and then they sold this house. This became available. Then these people sold it to, I believe, these people here is who I'm guessing owns it. And this is currently set as an Airbnb. Which has not been approved by the HOA or been discussed. So the HOA is also looking into that. So therefore, the other question is what are they planning to do with this? Is it also going to be an Airbnb? So from those aspects, mine would be that it is denied until the HOA officially approves what is being built there, so that it doesn't, get built and then the HOA has to spend money going through to lawsuits or anything else trying to get it reversed, which I've seen happen as well. So yeah, I think my question is just what exactly is being built there and what is it going to be used for, and then getting it approved by the HOA. And I'm not opposed to something being built there, but we just kind of want to know what it is beforehand. Thank you.
Mr. Aldridge?
Yep, sir. Your HOA, I'm assuming it's active?
Yes, it is.
Do you have in your covenant that prohibits any Airbnbs or short-term rentals or?
Yes, I talked to the board president when I asked them if they had heard anything on this, and this was just last week. They were not aware that it was an Airbnb. They informed me of another property in the neighborhood that they have drafted a letter from their lawyers and being sent to them, but have not gotten any response. And so I'm assuming at that point it's probably going to be whether the HOA wants to pay money to go to court and do all of that. So my request is not making the HOA go to court and deal with everything else after the fact.
That's not what this body is about, though.
I get that.
The HOA, that's private.
Nope, I completely understand that.
It's up to you guys to handle that any way you want to see fit. And if it's in your covenant that prohibits the Airbnbs, you got a case there, but that's up to y'all.
Yeah, I completely understand. I think, again, that's just where mine is. It should be going through, because anything that is built in the Rockwood neighborhood is also supposed to be approved by the board, and nobody has brought any of this to the board. And clearly, the owners don't know.
We understand what you're saying, but I don't think we got any control of that here today.
Okay.
We got a vacation case. I'd like to keep it on the.
And then I would say there's a reason, as the other gentleman mentioned, it is a very odd lot. It's since 1967. There's a reason I think nothing has been built there. And so I don't believe what is going to go there is going to necessarily fit with the community.
Well, that'd be a permitting issue again.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
Anything else?
Not for me.
Sir, you got, give us your name.
Ken Keith, and I live at 7824 East Pageant, right across the street from it. The house with the swimming pool there. And again, like Wade, I don't see that, I'm not trying to keep anything from being built there. Quite frankly, I'm an architect. I recognize the difficulty in building something on that piece of property, although I have to admit the designer in me would like to give it a shot. But anyway, our concern is that because of the restricted size of the lot and because the setbacks are only 6 feet, the 5 feet out could conceivably make it, just very different from the houses around it. It's going to stick out 5 feet like the proverbial sore thumb. I think a lot of it, and again, I recognize that this is not your problem. This is not the issue today. It depends on what they build in that 5 feet. So I just, I'm trying to keep my options open.
Thank you.
Okay?
Anybody else want to speak on this item? Thank you. Applicant agent's got 2 minutes to rebuttal.
They will have to get with the HOA, the builder will, and everybody knows that. This is a vacation case, and that's just, we want to be heard as the vacation case.
Thank you. Bring it back to the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve per staff recommendation of the comments.
Got a motion by Bob Aldridge, second by Bob Dewell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? 7-0. Item number 6 is vacation case 2024-00030.
Vacation 2430 is a request in the county to vacate a portion of platted access control along South 151st Street West. This would be vacating the north 30 feet of the south 72.5 feet of platted access control over and across Lot 2, Block A of the Snook Edition. This is on the east side of South 151st Street, about 1/2 mile north of West Maple. The property would be addressed as 212 South 151st Street West. Property is zoned single-family SF20, and all the surrounding property is also SF20. If you want to go to the aerial image, please, or site plan would be fine, actually. The site is currently undeveloped. The purpose of the vacation is to permit a driveway to a proposed residence and proposed detached garage. As you can see, when this area was platted, Reserve A along the north was platted for the purpose of providing access to lots 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and then 4 is off the image here, but it goes in line. In order to provide one point of access off of 151st, that would then serve the additional lots to the east. Sedgwick County Access Management Policy requires 660-foot minimum offset of drives on the same side of the street for full movement access, and 330-foot minimum spacing for ride-in, ride-out access. The Sedgwick County Access Management Policy permits deviations from these standards in situations where the character and site development, street, or area presents unusual conditions, and application of the standards would cause undue hardship or impracticality. Article 10-104 of the Subdivision Regulations for modification of design criteria states that the MAPC can modify the design criteria as well. Sedgwick County Public Works did review this, and they do not object, even though it does not meet access management standards. You can see that it's 370 feet from the driveway to the south and would be 370 feet to what would be a drive access, providing access to lots to the east. So essentially it meets these standards for a ride-in, ride-out access, and they're asking for a full movement access instead. County Public Works, if you want to go to the aerial image, essentially said this area is really just right outside the city of Wichita. If you go down to Maple, I think it's even central down south, you're really not too far. It's just kind of a bubble within that's surrounded by the city of Wichita. And the proposed driveway is in general conformance with the city's access management standards, which would be a 400-foot separation between full movement access points. So again, county traffic engineering does not object to this for a residential use, knowing also that the trip generation from this is not going to be very high either. Evergy does not object to the vacation. They have existing equipment just north of the vacation area. They provided their contact, and any standard language applies if any possible relocation would be at the applicant's expense. Cox does not object to the vacation request either. However, they provided a comment that said that they have buried fiber on the east side of South 151st Street in the right-of-way. This line cannot be relocated, and they just stress that caution must be used when crossing the fiber line for any construction of the driveway. And they can contact James Walburn with Cox for any information or things like that. So just again, stressing caution about the fiber line that is already located there. I have not heard any public comment regarding this item, and I can stand for any questions.
Any questions of staff? Seeing none. Advisory board members, any comments?
Rondi with Evergy, 4025 North Tobin. I believe inside the box that you have is where our junction box is located. So we don't have any objection, but any removal or relocation, you need to call Nick Kinsley and discuss it with him and see what we can do. But it would be at the applicant's expense.
Applicant or agent?
Jay Cook, Boffman Company, 315 South Ellis, agent on behalf of the applicant. As far as what Rondi's stating, there are some conditions there that any relocations of utilities will be done at the owner's expense, and we are agreeable to that. I have the applicant, Mike Hampton, here with me today, and I think he would like to explain kind of the need on why we're wanting to do this driveway, if you'll indulge him a few minutes.
Good morning, Mike Hampton. I'm building the house for me and my wife as our last house. Bought the lot from Jim Snook, which developed the 4 lots. He didn't really know I couldn't put a driveway up front because that's what he did until I pulled the permit and realized I couldn't. Since the house is almost done, it's 75% done. I'm waiting to figure out where to put the driveway. The 2 lots behind me that side road was put in for, they have since been bought by the guy behind us, and because he didn't want any houses back there, so it's just going to be farm ground. So there's really not going to be any houses behind me that side road will even need to be used for a long time. So he's back there tilling it up, planting deer corn. And so really there's not going to be any houses on the last 2 lots behind me. So I'm just asking for to have access to 151st, which I thought I was going to be getting from along. There's an existing approach right on the corner of my property, you can see, and it's still sitting there. We have proposed just going to the left 20, 30 foot out of, because there's some utilities right next to the existing approach. So we just proposed going about 20, 30 foot left of the existing approach, putting my approach in and then taking it to the house. Any questions?
Any questions of the agent or applicant? I guess not. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else present wanting to speak on this item? Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve for staff comments, recommendations.
Second.
Got a motion by Bob Aldridge, second by Mr. Emmelman. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? 7-0. Next case, item number 7, vacation case 2024-00031.
Good morning again, Philip Zievenbergen with, for the record, vacation 2431 has 2 requests. There's a request to vacate 2 platted 15-foot contingent street drainage and utility easements, as well as a 32-foot contingent right-of-way dedication. These are all on Lot 5 of the South Fork Commercial Edition. You can see them in the area here. The property is located just, if you follow this up, this is South Washington Court. This goes up to East 47th Street, so it's right at the interchange of East 47th and I-135. South Broadway is about a quarter mile to the west. The purpose of the vacation is to allow for development over and across the easements / contingent street dedication. These were platted with the understanding of possibly providing a connection point through this commercial property, which is zoned general commercial and subject to a community unit plan. And if you go to the south and to the west, East Custody provides access to South Broadway. East Custody is currently an unimproved, essentially, trail. There's wheel markers in there, but it's not even really of a gravel road. And as you can see, only a half-street right-of-way has been platted at this time. This property on the south side is unplatted. It's owned by a nearby church. It's undeveloped, and so you only have a half-street right-of-way. In addition, there would have to be a bridge across a drainage creek in order to provide that connection. When this property, the subject property, was platted, and this contingent street dedication was platted as well, this is South Mosley, in a residential neighborhood to the south, and they platted complete access control along Mosley so that if it were to be put in, you would not be likely not having any commercial traffic driving through this neighborhood to south. It actually has only one access point out of it, even farther south. So it would essentially prohibit commercial traffic cutting through the neighborhood to get out of there. The applicant is concurrently asking for a zone change of the southern portion of this lot and a CUP amendment in order to allow additional uses. It's currently zoned general commercial. They're requesting a zone change to limited industrial to allow a freight terminal and RV sales and service in this area. And they also are amending the CUP to break this up into 3 parcels instead of 1. As you can see on the map, the city water line has a dead end on the eastern of the 2 15-foot easements on either side of the contingent street dedication. City water is not an objection to the vacation of the easement. However, they do wish to connect this water line to the development to the south. It could follow this geometry, or they're requesting an easement possibly with a different geometry in order to connect to that water line to the development to the south. Additionally, Evergy has a request for additional easements, again, to connect service lines through, specifically to when this property is split and if this southern parcel were to be developed in order to provide service to the southern parcel as it is now. If you go back to the site plan, there's multiple easements to the south. There's also an access easement along the west side. None of those are part of this vacation request. All of these easements along the south property line and this access and drainage utility easement on the west property line, they are all staying intact, and they're not part of this vacation. I have not heard any public comment regarding this, and I can stand for any questions.
Any questions of staff? Seeing none, thank you. Advisory board members, any comment?
Rondi with Evergy. We're just proposing the 15 feet street utility easement to connect to the proposed 35-foot easement that they're proposing on the lot split itself. So we just, thank you.
Anybody else? Applicant or agent?
Thank you. Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting, 2532 North Cardinal Drive. We will ensure that these easements by separate document are dedicated as part of the lot split process. This actual street vacation was done once before in 2015, did not include the additional 15 feet on either side though. So we're kind of coming back, trying to clean this up along with the lot split that we're doing now and the CUP amendment and zone change. This property has been sitting here for about 10 years, platted in its current configuration. Hoping that some of these changes are going to make this a little bit more marketable and desirable. We do have some interest now, but need to get all of these components into place before we can move forward. I'm glad to stand for any questions.
Any questions, the agent? Mr. Blick?
How does this affect the big sleuth that goes right along to that if we're,
Well, this really doesn't have anything to do with it, except for now there will not be a bridge over it, potentially, at any time in the future.
okay, sounds good, thanks.
Any other questions, agent? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else present wanting to speak on this item? Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve for staff recommendations.
Got a motion by Mr. Williams Bay, second by Mrs. Embleman. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? 7-0. Now we'll go to subdivision items. Item number 8, subdivision 2024-00020.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff. The first subdivision is Castaway North. Next screen, please. And then next screen. There's the aerial. It's on the southwest corner of 53rd and Hoover Street in the county. Next screen. This is a sketch plat for a 202 lot residential subdivision. Sketch plat is just a general layout just to get some of the major issues addressed, and this reminder that this plat will need to come back for final approval for preliminary or one-step final. So some waivers that may be needed at the preliminary one-step stage is streets that are designed to have a single point of ingress egress should not be longer than 800 feet. It appears that the street on the southeast corner would be over the 800 feet, so that would be a waiver that would be needed. Also, the property to the west is unplatted, so a street connection will be needed. Since the reserve uses were not included on the sketch plat, that reserve could be a street connection, but it is my understanding, the subdivision regulations, that those street connections cannot be reserved. They would have to be a full street right-of-way connection. But we can look into further that as we move further along on this project. I will go through staff comments. MABCD requires sewer and water wells memo. Item B, City Public Works Department requires all lots to extend water and sanitary sewer. Water transmission line will need to be extended northward along Hoover and westward on 53rd Street from 41st Street to serve this development water. Front-loaded sewer needs an additional 20-foot utility easement and need to coordinate with engineering department to verify capacity of lift station for sanitary sewer. An additional comment that was received was additional easement may be needed for sanitary sewer main extension. Items C and D, drainage plans are not required for sketch plats. However, county stormwater did say that there was one previously submitted and reviewed for the sketch plat. Item E, County Public Works is coordinating with traffic for access policies along 53rd and North Hoover. The county fire department advises drives need to comply with service code, and City of Wichita requires 26-foot fire access for cul-de-sacs over 800 feet. I should note and probably get some clarification from fire here that I know that over 30 units requires two access points, but I believe that that is a city code and doesn't apply to county. Is that correct?
The International Fire Code is adopted by both agencies. That's Appendix D. My understanding is this is going to be annexed into the city of Wichita. So.
Okay. Okay. So that might be something that the agent might need to address is over the 30 units that will need to provide second point of access, especially for that on the southeast corner. So I just want the commission aware of that in case that comes up. So we will need to, the agent will need to work through that with the fire department to get that addressed. Item K, city traffic working with county on this project and advises the approaches do not meet the access management along 53rd and Hoover. So further negotiation with access controls are needed. Traffic calming elements along some of the straightways in the southwest portion of the plat. And item V, Evergy has reviewed the sketch plat and will wait for preliminary one step to make final recommendations on needed easements for this subdivision. So if there's questions.
Mr. Aldridge.
Yeah, a couple things. We've got two different versions on the sketch plats. We got what you have up there, and on the bigger plat, and then we got a smaller edition that eliminates an entire cove. So which one are we looking at?
Yeah, the agent will address that. I believe he handed out revised ones.
Okay, and also, I think there was mention about potential future annexation. Right now, the closest water, I think, and sewers is what, at 45th Street? So that's, you know.
I will let Public Works address that as far as how water, sewer are going to be connected to this if it is annexed.
Okay, and they're still, you know, they're in the early parts of dredging this area out. So this isn't something that's going to be developed anytime soon, is it?
That would be a question for the agent of their time frame for development.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, staff? Thank you. Advisory board members?
Roddy with Evergy, we aren't asking for any additional leases at this time because it's a sketch plat, but however, we would like to have just out there that we're looking for 15 to 20 feet along front lot easement.
Anybody else? Seeing none. Go ahead.
Oh, Matt Schultz, City Engineering. So we do have a lift station towards the southeast of the plat that we would have to connect to or could connect to. But we do have an issue of how do we get the mains up to the northwest portion, and we'll work that out with the agent as we go to the next final plat.
Okay, with that, what about sewer? Would that be?
Well, so the lift station is what will handle the sewer. We'll run gravity to that. We do have an issue. We stated it in there that we currently have a 4-inch line coming out of the lift station. It's a pressure feed, so you know the pumps grind up the sewage put out. As we construct more, we'll have to increase that size of line. So, and that's just something we'll have to do in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Phil Meyer with Boffman Company, agent for the applicant. The applicant on this application today is Jay Russell. It's an extension of the Rennick addition or Castaway that he has been doing to the south down here. I did pass out a revised sketch plat for you to look at, and those revisions came from conversations that we've been having with Mike Armour, the traffic engineer. And basically, these two cul-de-sacs at the north up here, we agreed to just do one connection to 53rd Street and tee it around. So that's the revision between the two of them, and that was at the traffic engineer's request that the applicant agreed to. And I think we're meeting traffic requirements at that point on this sketch plat. We do fully intend to annex this into the city of Wichita. We can serve it with sewer and water. It gets a little tricky over here on sewer, but we've been working through that already and communicating with the city, and we can serve the whole development as proposed with sewer and water. This is an active sand plant right now. We will be starting this in phases and probably start down here at this corner, which would be an extension of the Rennick, or marketed at Castaway, platted as Rennick to the south there. With that, we're in agreement with most of staff's comments. We are proposing a contingent dedication at this location to go to the west. That's what that reserve is for. We will continue to work with the fire department, have been, and will continue to work with them on the quantity of lots and turnarounds that they may need on some of these where the cul-de-sac is a little bit longer than the 800 foot per the subregs. So we're familiar with their requirements and already in communication with them. With that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, the agent? That was too easy. Thank you. Anybody else want to speak on this item? Anybody else want to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve for staff comments.
Got a motion to approve by Mr. Williams Bay. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Mr. Zimmerman, second it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? 7-0. Now item 9, subdivision 2024-00019.
Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present the Elman Glendale edition. Next screen, please. It is zoned LC, limited commercial. Next screen. And then the next screen. This is a one-step final plat for one lot commercial subdivision. The subdivision is a replat of a portion of East Highlands Edition. I go through staff comments. Public Works advises water and sanitary sewer are available regarding public utility easement running east and west about 134 feet north of south line of plat. Increase the public utility easement to 20 feet to match our current standard for public sewer. Item D, stormwater management needs a drainage plan submitted. At the time of writing this report, a drainage plan had not been submitted. The city fire advises proper hydrant protection will be based on size of building and follows specifications for fire apparatus access roads. Item F, traffic engineering advised to show access controls with one opening and advises confirmation that there is a cross-lot agreement with property to the west and request a 45-foot right-of-way with a 15-foot utility drainage and sidewalk easement off of Central. Item G, standard environmental health comment regarding irrigation wells. And item S, Evergy has reviewed the plat and will not need to request any additional easements at this time. And stand for questions.
Any questions of staff? Advisory board members, any comments?
Rondi with Evergy, no additional comment.
Applicant or agent?
Kim Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting. We are in agreement, fully in agreement with staff comments, and we'll ensure that all of those are completed before this moves forward. Stand for questions.
Any questions of the agent? Guess not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else present wanting to speak on this item? Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval per staff recommendations.
Second.
Got one motion by Mr. Zimmelman, second by Mr. Blick. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? 7-0. Now, we're not gonna hear item 10, so we go to 11, subdivision 2024-00025.
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff, presenting the Ridge Road Restaurant Edition. Next screen, please. This located at the northeast corner of Ridge and West 29th Street. The property is owned LI, Limited Industrial. Next screen, please. And then next screen. This is a one-step plat for a one-lot commercial subdivision located within the city. Go through staff comments. Next screen, please. There it is. Item A, utilities require sanitary sewer to be extended. Water is available. Water transmission benefit fee due for this plat. Item D, stormwater management needs a drainage plan. At the time of writing this report, a drainage plan was not submitted. Item E, standard fire department comment about hydrant protection based on building size and type. Item F, complete access controls except for one opening are shown along 29th and Ridge Road. Traffic engineering advises openings need to be located and complete asset control openings need to be dimensioned. I just received a comment, further clarification from traffic engineering this morning that the adjacent property owner called traffic engineering this week with concerns about their access. Traffic engineering called the agent for Ridge Road Restaurant and told them they need to work out with the adjacent owner that we'd make a comment to that effect, and they acknowledged that they had addressed that issue with the adjacent owner. So traffic engineering will need to work with them on more specifics regarding access controls on where the right in, right out on Ridge could be located and the full movement on 29th, and work through right-of-way dedications to get that finalized. So it appears there's still some issues that need to be worked out between traffic and the developers. Those would be addressed before the Plan Commission meeting, hopefully. And item H, standard environmental health comment regarding irrigation wells. And item S, Evergy has reviewed and will not need to request any additional easements at this, and will need to request additional easements at this time. And those have been forwarded to the agent and will be submitted on the final plat. Questions?
Any questions of staff? Thank you. Advisory board members, any comments?
Rondi with Evergy, no additional comment.
Applicant or agent?
Derek Hake, ASM Engineering, 221 East Commerce in Andover, Kansas. We are the civil engineer here for the owner on the project. As mentioned, traffic engineering contacted us yesterday to discuss the access and also the right-of-way here along Ridge Road and 29th Street. Since it appears the right-of-way will need to be enlarged right there, the owner will need to go back and reevaluate the plan for the site. So there are additional discussions other than just the access on there.
Anything else?
No.
Bob?
Yep, sir, are you, at this point, are you good with staff recommendations and comments and especially pertaining to the right in, right out?
I think at this time, yes.
Because my concern, this is a pretty busy intersection, and then you have the K&O track just north of that. That gets pretty heavily congested at times. So there needs to really have an emphasis on that right in and right out right there for safety purpose.
Yes, understood.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anyone else present wanting to speak on this item? Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll vote.
John Towie, 21600 West 31st Street. I'm the adjacent property owner, and on this, our real concern is, if you could flip to that, yes, that shows where their plan is to eliminate this access to our property on 29th Street and move it onto their property. And then their plan is to put their access road here with no consideration, which would be Ridge Road access to our property, which obviously both of those need to be addressed at the same time, given the fact that there's railroad tracks just north of this area. So we obviously would ask that it's deferred until things are worked out, and we have not been contacted by the adjacent property owner. And one other thing is, I think for utilities, I believe they are showing that they are going to access, if you could flip to the other screen, I believe they're showing they're going to access water here, and there is no easement to be on our property or bring anything through it. So I would just simply ask that it is deferred. And then if traffic could speak to what will likely happen with turn lanes on the corner, and if it would affect both properties or just their property. I would like to see if traffic could address that. That's it. Thanks.
Traffic?
Yeah, Lee Carmichael, Traffic Engineering. We were asking for additional right-of-way to conform to the access management policy and layout. So for your property, I believe, the way it's laid out, the transition from 75 foot to 60 foot would be right at that north property line. So if you develop your property, we'd probably ask for 60 foot. If it's not already there, we'll ask for 60 foot and any portion of that transition or taper back from 75 to 60 foot.
Right. Okay. And another question I guess I would have for traffic if they are allowed to put their drive on their property there, would we be allowed to put an additional one on ours? Or should the drive on Ridge Road, in your opinion, be a joint driveway?
I would prefer it to be a joint driveway. However, we've asked that it be a right in, right out only approach. And for you to have full movement off of your property, it'd have to be 200 feet from their approach.
Right.
And then you can have full movement.
Sure. Okay. Anyway, I'm just asking that it's deferred until those issues are addressed.
Anybody else want to speak on this item? The agent can come back for rebuttal.
We had, or I had spoken with the owner yesterday, advising them that they should be discussing these items with you.
I spoke with Mike Armour. He's the only one I spoke with.
Could you speak up?
He said that he had spoken with Mike Owner, not ours, and that's correct. Didn't mean to imply that.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We'll bring it back to the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
I do have some questions, I guess, before we go forward. There seems to be an awful lot of concerns on this. If we make a motion to approve, can we also stipulate that all the concerns that have been addressed here be addressed and taken care of prior to going to the full body?
Scott?
If I could, sir. And so if that condition, if that's included in the motion, I just want to make sure that the applicant and the neighbor know that in that case, we will not place it on the MAPC agenda until we feel like this is staff is of the opinion this has been worked out.
Thank you. Having heard that, I will make a motion that we approve with the contingency that before it goes to the full body Metropolitan Planning Commission, that the concerns that we've heard here today and the issues have been worked out.
That's a motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second?
I have a question. Would they have to come back to us again?
No, it goes
That
on
point?
the floor.
No, the full body MAPC.
Okay, I second it.
Got a motion by Bob Aldridge, second by Mr. Williams Bay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? 7-0. Item 14. Subdivision 2023-00028.
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff. Here to present the M. Davenport edition.
Just a second, Greg.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I believe we're on number 12, sub 2426.
Man, getting too big a hurry. You're right.
Did I get?
Subdivision 2024-00026. I just wanted to keep Miller here longer.
Nope. Yep. Sorry, that should be 26, not 19. I will make that correction. Okay, yep, sorry, 24, 26. M. Davenport. Next screen, please. This is a one lot residential subdivision located within the city. It is zoned SF 5, single family residential. Next screen, please. And then the next screen. Okay, staff comments. Item A, public utilities advises water and sewer are available. Sanitary sewer trap area. Item C, city stormwater management states that the drainage plan was submitted on 5/20/24, and I had a comment that it was approved on 5/21/24. Item G, standard city fire comment about proper hydrant location. Item H, traffic engineering has no comment. Item A, standard environmental health comment regarding irrigation wells. And item T, Evergy has reviewed the plat and will need to request additional easements at this time, and those have been forwarded to the agent and will be put on the final plat. So if there's stand for questions.
Any question to staff? Seeing none, thank you. Advisory board members, any comments?
Rondi with Evergy. We just want to stress again, infill lot, please reach out to Evergy before going forward with the project so that we can make sure that we have all the information we need to serve the lot. Thank you.
Applicant or agent?
Kirk Miller, K.E. Miller Engineering, we're fine with staff comments.
Any questions, the agent? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else here wanting to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission with pleasure, board.
Motion to approve with staff's recommendation and the waivers.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? 7-0. Now we'll go to item 14. Subdivision 2023 00028.
Next screen. Here to present the Sapphire Estates. Next screen. The report that you have is for an 8-lot subdivision. The developer had changed their direction with this project. And so now it is a 2-lot subdivision. So if you can go to the next screen, please. And then the next screen. This was the original subdivision that was submitted. So there was a cul-de-sac road going through 5 lots on the south of 143rd Street. They have now decided to eliminate those lots because given the requirement for paving, the cost of paving 143rd Street, the amount of traffic that would have been generated would have them pay for the cost of some paving improvements. So if you can go to the next screen. And then the next screen. So this is the now revised plat, reducing those 5 lots or 6 lots along the south. So this is actually a 2-lot subdivision that they are requesting. So because of that, going from 2 to 8, the waiver that is included in the staff report will no longer be needed. So I will just go through staff comments.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Sorry, this is Scott Wadle. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
When did you receive the change from the 8-lot to the 2-lot?
There were talks that they might go from the 8 to 2, but I didn't actually receive the plat. I believe it was till yesterday.
Okay, so you received that yesterday for a one-step final plat?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any questions of staff?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I think I cut Greg off. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear when we received that. I think he still has more analysis in terms of the changes.
Okay. Yep, I would just go through staff comments. Item A, MABCD, needs a memo for on-site sewage and water wells. The site is currently located in the Butler County Rural Water District number 5 and recommend connection if available. Stormwater management had received a drainage plan on 5/21/24, and those comments have been forwarded to the agent. And those, and I've got a message from County Stormwater this morning that from the drainage plan, there were some comments and they will need to submit an updated plan, and that plan will need to be submitted before the MAPC meeting next week. So the agent needs to be aware that that updated drainage plan will need to be submitted. Item D, complete access controls located along North 143rd Street. With a 70-foot opening, County Public Works states that the access controls for Lot 1, Block A shall be limited to 1 entrance and requests 75-foot west of 143rd Street along south line of Lot 1. These comments probably will need to be revised. I will need to send this over to County Public Works just so they can review just the 2-lot subdivision. With that, original comment, paving of 130 Street will be required per section 803. That is no longer needed since they are going from the 8-lot to the 2-lot. And item F, County Fire advises plat will need to comply with the County Service Drive Code and the International Fire Code, and advises that 143rd Street Court, which is no longer there, so that comment will not be needed about the cul-de-sac. Item H have been addressed. Item K, the pipeline easement was within the south where the original 6-lot was, so that pipeline easement does not appear to go within these 2 lots, so item K will be redacted. And item Z, Evergy has reviewed Sapphire and will need to request additional easements at this time. That might change regarding the elimination of the 6 lots to the south. And Phillips 66 advises that multiple pipelines are in the area and will need more data for review of the subdivision. Like I said before, those pipelines were intersecting those lots to the south, so that comment may not be needed. However, the agent should contact Phillips 66 for any advice. I stand for questions.
Any questions? Aldridge.
Yeah, since you just received the updates on this thing yesterday, I've got a problem with moving forward on this. Just, utilities haven't had an opportunity to review this. Traffic hasn't had an opportunity to review this. We haven't really had an opportunity to look at it. I mean, all the staff comments have changed. I think that this should be deferred until we can have current updated information.
Okay.
I'll make that motion that we defer it until June 20th, I believe it is.
Yes, correct.
I agree with Mr. Aldridge. Our plan, my comments remarked that when we have more than that in large lots, we go in and put in primary and junction boxes, and then we put the transformers in later as each house lot develops. And so what I'm understanding is they're not platting the west side at all. They're just doing 2 lots on the northeast side of 143rd. Is that correct?
Yes, just the 2 lots. So that those 6 lots that included that cul-de-sac are no longer going to be developed. And I believe the agent wants to make some comments and speak before that motion is given. So.
Yeah, we haven't heard.
Okay.
Anybody got any more questions, staff? Advisory board members, any additional comments? Applicant or agent?
Yeah, good morning. Logan Mills with Certified Engineering Design, 1935 West Maple, agent for the applicant. What I wanted to point out this morning was that due to the requiring of the paving of 143rd Street for a mile, there was 8 lots that would have to pay for all that. So the county traffic, public works was agreeable to go down to 2 lots. So essentially all we did, nothing has changed from the layout on the screen that was submitted. We just dropped the west side. So you guys should have had the chance to review all of this. It's all part of the same original submittal. All we did again was drop the west side. So we are in agreement with staff comments. We realize that a lot of these have dropped off due to a lot of the comments won't be necessary because the west side is not being platted anymore. So But yeah, I'll stand for any questions, so.
Any questions of the agent? Mr. Blick?
Would you have a problem with deferral so where people can look into this a little bit more?
Yeah, no, but yeah, for sake of time, I guess I'd rather have it approved.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the agent? Thank you. Anybody else present wanting to speak on this item? Yes.
We wouldn't have any objection then, because the two lots to the northeast were going to be just single lots, and you wouldn't reach out to Kevin Reischick like you would have on the other lots on the south side. You just reach out to Stephen to set your transformers for those two lots, so we don't have any objection to that. But I would like a copy of the revised plat, please, sent to me, so I have it for our records.
Okay, I'll bring it back to board. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'm still gonna request a deferral on this. I don't know if it's gonna pass or not. These last minute changes, I think it doesn't do anybody any good on this. This is a pretty significant change on this, and I'm still gonna request or make the motion that we defer it till June 20th until everything is taken care of.
I guess what I want to say, I know that we don't like to see changes, but this is a little bit different where they just drop part of it off. It's not like they send us a lot of new information, so I'm not going to support it. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I guess we got a motion to defer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hey.
How many were opposed? Can you raise your hands, please? So we had 3 opposed, so 4 in favor, 3 opposed.
So the motion does pass. Now item 15, I think.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff. Present 2429 Kings Coast Edition. Next screen, please. This is located on the northwest corner of East 29th Street and Greenwich Road. Current zoning is a PUD. This is for a 10-lot commercial subdivision, and it is associated, it is actually a replat of the K96 Business Park Edition, and this subdivision is associated with PUD 111. So I go through staff comments. Public Works requires water and sanitary sewer be extended for all lots. It is my understanding that the comment regarding the water line need to be looped through the development has been removed, and the following comment added. Additional easements will be required in the future to provide water service to the eastern lots. The easement will be required to allow a loop line through the plat to serve the eastern lots connecting near the northeastern corner of the plat along Greenwich Road to the southern edge of the plat along 29th Street. Additionally, a water line petition must be submitted that will sufficiently fund the water line loop. Public Works Utilities requests a utility plan, and additional easements may be requested. Additional comment has been added that Public Works and Utilities advises the sanitary sewer acquisition fees are due for all lots and blocks. Item D, City Stormwater Management has received a drainage plan, and it was submitted on 5/31/24 and approved on 6/3/24. Item E, Standard City Fire Department comment. Item F, the plat, sorry, if you can go to the next screen. And then the next screen. The original plat that was submitted had a comment stating that the access controls reference Wichita Access Management Regulations along Greenwich Avenue. What you see on the screen is a revised plat. The agent has been working with traffic engineering to actually include the access controls and opening along Greenwich, and it is my understanding that all those access controls and openings have been approved as submitted with the revised plat that is seen on the screen. Item G, County Public Works approves of access control. Item H, standard environmental health comment regarding irrigation wells. With the revised plat submitted, item IJ has been revised and approved. Since this is a PUD, item K, since it's a PUD, a notice of PUD will be needed submitted. Item L, it looks like all the county surveying comments have been addressed in this revised plat. And item V, Evergy has reviewed King Coast Edition and will need to request additional easements at this time, and those have been forwarded to the agent, and I'll stand for questions.
Any questions of staff? Seeing none, thank you. Advisory board members, any comments?
Rondi with Evergy. I believe that Mr. Shane Price, my supervisor, has spoken with the agent for the applicant. I verified with him this morning that we're going to go forward with the easements that we requested. Thank you.
Yes.
Matt Schultz, Wichita Engineering. I just wanted to clarify on our water line loop, the reason that we're wanting to do that is we have a 20-inch water line running north-south along Greenwich, and we do not want all those the lots, and potentially if they split the lots as well, to have a bunch of taps on the 20. So we want to have a 8-inch water line loop connecting from Greenwich down to 29th so that they can tap into that part of the line. Thanks.
Thank you. Applicant or agent? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Brian Lindeback, MKEC Engineering, 411 North Webb Road, on behalf of the owner and applicant. We've provided the updated plat, addressed all the concerns that we reviewed with traffic engineering, and they've, one thing to note is they had some access controls that we added on 29th as well, even though that's not an arterial street. We have worked with staff on the water line loop. We want the ability to, if these lots were sold together and developed together, to not have this water line run through there. But so that's, we're going to petition it. So in the event that the lots are not built together as one big lot, that we would extend that easement down and loop it here on the south in 29th Street. And of course, we'll have a loop into that 20-inch water line as well as a water line at the rear. So we've got utilities sorted out. We did meet with Evergy yesterday in a Teams meeting. Several of us did, and it was my understanding when I left that meeting that Evergy was consenting to our plat as presented to them, which is the same plat here, and not asking for additional easements. Knowing that they are the utility provider for electric in this area, and as the development ensues, they will get the requisite easements needed to serve their property. We talked about extending this easement through right here, through Reserve B. That was a concern that we agreed that we would fix that. So other than that change, it was my understanding we're in agreement with what we presented here, knowing that as things develop here, they would acquire additional easements as the development plans become more known. I think just for context, this is a 20-acre parcel roughly. I talked to them about the Plazio development that we've worked on. That Plazio development started in 1998. And there's 3 lots left at Plazio, actually only 4 lots left at Plazio development. The point I'm trying to make here is that things change a lot over the time with a commercial development, and where they wanted easements was at every lot line and at every rear lot line. And that simply doesn't work for us because we would be before this body vacating easements time and time again as the development comes to. So I just wanted to share that insight and part of our conversation that we had yesterday, and that's how we came to agreement. Another item to note that in talking with staff is that there is a plan to bring a road in here to serve the airport on the north, as well as utility connections through there. So I just thought I'd point that out. That's something that I've become aware of. There's an easement here that's been granted to the airport authority. So I think it would be wise to hook in the soccer fields into that drive because of the traffic volumes that are on 29th Street.
Any questions, Agent? That's it. Evergy.
The first issue we have is the easement to the north along that road. We're not going to be in road right-of-way, and we do not want to be in I believe that's the airport easement. It's not a utility easement. Other issue we have along the back lots on the west side is that that's a drainage and utility easement. It's 15 feet, and we are not going to be in a drainage easement as well, which is why we asked for 10 feet to the east of that 15-foot, so we could not be in a drainage easement. Because what we're finding more and more is we're out on a hill, we're down in a ditch. I got an email not too long ago from Mr. Hickle that said, "Hey, Rondi, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but all of your equipment behind these houses is underwater." So we're finding that more and more. We go out. I drove by one the other day, and I'm not kidding you, our secondary pedestal, which sits like this, was sitting like this on a hill. And that was in the province, which is right up here off 159th. Very nice houses. So what we're trying to avoid going forward as we keep continuing to have these problems, the ones in between the lots, I believe Shane asked for, if you'll indulge. The ones that are in between is because we'll get two lots from two builders coming in, two different businesses. And so to save on equipment lines, we will put one piece of equipment. It might be, anywhere from a 50 to a 100 kVA transformer to serve the multiple lots, depending on where they put it. And so I don't think those are as critical. We can get those by separate instrument, and we will wait until they are filed before we even start design, so that we make sure we get what we need. But in order to serve both property, and you usually ask for center line, because that's what he asked for, I believe, was 10-foot center line on each side of each lot, so that if this guy and this guy are building two businesses, we can put a transformer in between and serve them. So we're not trying to be difficult, but we don't want to be in a road right away of a road going to the airport. We don't want to be in a drainage easement anymore because our equipment ends up getting wet, rusting out, having to be replaced. And road right of way, we'd rather have easement. So I got a text from Shane right before this meeting that said, we will go with what we asked for. But I can put a caveat that if he gives me anything else, I can reach out to Greg before next week's meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Can we put the plat back up on the screen?
What was that?
Yeah, thank you. Not there. Yeah, thank you. I did talk to Shane yesterday, as like I said, and we explained to him this is going to be an urbanized development. This is not going to have ditches and suburban drainage features. This is going to have underground storm sewer. There's one owner on this property. They intend to keep most of it and lease it out. So it is going to be master planned. The master plan is in place, but as you know, commercial development changes frequently up until the finish line when something's being built. So I don't think it's going to be in anybody's best interest to plat easements where they've asked for them. This easement on the northeast baseball plat continues on to the property to the north. This easement over here continues on to the property to the north. This is an easement here. The whole 60 foot is an easement to the public, which is the airport authority is a municipal corporation. So there'll be utilities in there. I'm certain of it. So I guess, and there's a 25-foot easement. We got a 20-foot easement in the front. We've got easements over here to serve these lots for what we know we're going to build today. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask what we're asking for, to not encumber the entire property with easements at this time when we don't exactly know how the final configuration is. And quite frankly, if it's required of us to plat all these easements, I'm not sure we'll be bringing this back in the same configuration.
That's a misconception of the 25 feet on the west line. We aren't allowed to cross property lines into other people's property. I mean, we can if we have easement in between that's on the same plat, but we don't cross property lines that are on the same plat. We don't put dual primary in that, because we have, if we have primary, I don't know, I'd have to look and talk to Shane, but we don't put dual primary in the same easement. So whatever's serving over on the baseball may not be used by us to serve what's serving on this plat. So,
It's a public easement and we intend to use it.
and again, we don't cross the property line. Because we're not allowed to ask for easements on that property because it's not a part of this plat. So we're not going to assume we're going to use that easement that's on that property for this plat.
Okay, any more questions of the agent? Is there anyone else present to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission. What's the pleasure of the board?
I definitely would like to see the agent work things out with utilities on this. But I would make a motion to approve per staff recommendations and comments and request the agent sit down, especially with Evergy, and work out your issues before it comes to the full body planning commission.
Second.
Got a motion by Bob Aldridge, second by Bob, yes.
Just a quick clarification for planning staff so we know which way to go. So the request is that they would sit down and work it out. With that language, if we would still place it on and we would leave it up to them about working it out. So I just want to be clear that we will follow the process and put it on, and then when it gets to MAPC, it'll be up to you all to determine whether or not it's been worked out to satisfaction.
Okay.
I'll make sure that I send something to Greg.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? 7-0. Item 16. Subdivision 2024-00030.
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff, subdivision 2430. This is the Wrangell addition. Next screen, please. This property is zoned LC, limited commercial. This is a one-step final plat for a one-lot commercial subdivision. Next screen, please. And then the next screen. Go through staff comments. Item A, Public Works Utility advises water and sewer is available to the site. Item D, city stormwater management. I've received confirmation that a drainage plan was submitted on 5/28/24 and approved on 5/29/24. Item E, standard city fire comment. Item F, complete access controls with one full movement opening as indicated along Northwest Street, and traffic engineering has approved access controls opening and right of way. Item G, standard environmental health comment regarding irrigation wells. Item H, the applicant has platted front setback of 15 feet along Northwest Street and a 5-foot side street setback along West 8th Street. which represents adjustment of the zoning code of 20-foot front and 10-foot side street for the LC Limited Commercial District. Item I and J have been approved with a revised plat that has been submitted. And item T, Evergy has reviewed the plat and will not need to request any additional easements at this time. Stand for
Any
question.
questions of staff? Yes, not, thank you. Advisory board members, any comments?
Ronde with Desreg, no additional comment.
Applicant or agent?
Morning again, Brian Lindeback, MKC Engineering on behalf of the owner and applicant for 11 North Webb Road. We are in agreement with staff comments and we'll answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
All right.
And I don't think I see anybody else here wanting to speak on this item, so I'll bring it back to commission. Motion by Mr. John Williams, Bay, second by Mr. Blick. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? That's 6-0. Mr. Doe left. Any other business? Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, sir. I'll try and be brief. I'm not sure if this has happened before, but just in case. So we have Abigail, who has joined us. I'm not sure if we've introduced her before, but she goes by Abby. And she is going to be taking on the duties of Jeff Van Zant. So there will be a transition period before Jeff retires in September. So I just wanted to take a moment and say hello, welcome her. And so if you get a chance, please stop by and say hi. As far as the reference to the number of attorneys, I think they've heard how terrible my lawyer jokes are, so they're getting a lot more here to pay attention.
Anything else? We're adjourned.